before the skyscrapers, before the superpower, before the red, white, and blue flew over half the world. There was a land, untamed, ancient, and forgotten. Long before Columbus ever touched a sail, the Americas were alive, thriving with civilizations that built massive cities, studied the stars, and shaped the land. The Mississippians built Cahokia, a city bigger than London. The ancestral Puebloans carved homes into cliffs like living mountains. The Iroquois created a complex alliance that some say inspired modern democracy. But the world? It had no idea. Then, 1492, Columbus arrives, and with him centuries of conquest. The Spanish come for gold, the French for furs. The British? They stay. 13 small colonies planted along the coast, seeds that would grow into rebellion. By the late 1700s, the colonies were on fire. Tired of British control, they rose up. Farmers, merchants, rebels, led by names like George Washington, took on the world's most powerful empire and won. The United States was born. But not everyone was free. Slavery still chained millions. Native tribes were pushed further into the shadows. The new nation promised liberty but delivered it unevenly. Then came the storm, the Civil War. Brother fighting brother. Cities burning. Over 600,000 dead. The country nearly destroyed itself, but from the ashes came change. Slavery was abolished. A new America began to take shape. The engines of industry roared to life. Trains crossed continents. Immigrants flooded in from every corner of the earth chasing one dream, the American one. But behind the smoke and steel were sweatshops, child labor, and the crushing weight of poverty. Still, America was rising. In 1917, the U.S. joined World War I. It arrived late, but shifted the tide. For the first time, the world looked to America as more than a country. It was becoming a force. The 1920s brought jazz, cars, and electric lights. Then the Great Depression struck like thunder. Banks collapsed. Millions starved. But even that wasn't the end. Because in 1941, the world changed again. Pearl Harbor was bombed. America entered World War II. The factories turned to war. Civilians became soldiers. And across the globe, from Normandy's beaches to the islands of the Pacific, the U.S. left its mark. By 1945, the war was over and America stood taller than ever. Victorious. Wealthy. Powerful. But this isn't just a story of victories. It's a story of contradictions. Of dreams and darkness. Of empires built and lives broken. It's a story that's still unfolding. Because the real history of America? It's not in textbooks. It's buried in time. And we're just getting started. The Rise of America, Secrets After the War. 1945. The war ends, but a new kind begins. A war in the shadows. No bullets. No tanks. Just fear. And silence. The Cold War. America and the Soviet Union, two titans on opposite sides of an iron curtain, locked in a deadly dance. Not with weapons, but with ideologies. Capitalism versus communism. Democracy versus dictatorship. Nuclear bombs were built by the thousands. Everyone held their breath, because one wrong move and the world burns. But while tensions rose abroad, America was changing at home. The 50s brought the suburbs. Fast food. Television. The American dream, repackaged and sold with a smile. But behind the picket fences, not everyone was living the dream. Black Americans were still denied basic rights. Segregation ruled the South. Until one woman, Rosa Parks, refused to give up her seat. Until one man, Martin Luther King Jr., marched toward justice. The civil rights movement cracked the surface. Marches. Protests. Blood on the streets. And slowly change came. Meanwhile, the Cold War heated up. Vietnam. A jungle war no one wanted. Thousands of young Americans sent to die. Protests erupted. Trust in the government crumbled. The 70s? Corruption. Watergate. Nixon resigns in disgrace. The 80s? A return to power. Reaganomics. Wall Street greed. The birth of the tech age. The Soviet Union collapses. The Cold War ends. And America? Alone at the top. But then 9/11. A morning that changed everything. The towers fall. The world watches in horror. America enters the war on terror. Afghanistan. Iraq. Two wars that dragged on for decades. Back home, the digital age explodes. Facebook. iPhones. Surveillance. America becomes more connected. But more divided. Then came 2008. A global financial crash. Millions lost jobs, homes, and hope. Then came Trump. Then came COVID. Then came chaos. Today, America stands but shaken, a nation of endless opportunity and endless conflict. It is rich but divided, powerful but questioned, admired but feared, from revolution to empire, war to innovation. The United States became more than a country. It became an idea, but every empire has a shadow, and in those shadows are stories no one ever told. Until now. This is Brothers Explore, and we're just getting started. America's hidden truths. They told you history was written by the victors, but they never told you what the victors erased. Because behind the flags and fireworks, behind the land of the free, lies a version of America you were never meant to see. Let's begin with 3 letters. CIA. Born in 1947. Not to defend America, but to control the world. They toppled governments in Iran, Chile, Guatemala. They installed dictators, funded rebels, trained assassins, not for peace, but for power. Meanwhile, a secret project was underway. Its name? MKUltra. Mind control. LSD experiments. On civilians without their knowledge. They erased memories. Shattered minds. Some say they never stopped. And what about JFK? 1 bullet or 2? A lone gunman or a government hit? Even today, millions don't believe the official story. Because the files are still redacted. Why? Because truth is dangerous. Like the truth about corporate power. America doesn't run on democracy. It runs on money. Oil companies write the laws. Pharma giants push the pills. Tech CEOs know everything about you, your location, your voice, your secrets. They say it's freedom. But are we just products in a machine? Even wars are business. Weapons contracts. Reconstruction deals. Every bomb dropped means someone got paid. And while the rich get richer, the poor get forgotten. Flint still doesn't have clean water. Homeless veterans sleep on the streets they once defended. And entire communities are swallowed by opioids. Then there's the media. 24/7 news, screaming, dividing. Is it information or manipulation? And just when you think you've seen it all. Area 51. Roswell. Project Blue Book. Did we make contact? Or were the UFO stories just cover-ups for something even darker? Maybe the real aliens are sitting in boardrooms. America is not just a nation. It's a puzzle. Some pieces fit. Others were buried. But the deeper you dig, the more the truth fights back. And most people? They never dig. But you did. And now, you can't unsee it. What comes next? You've seen the cracks in the system. The lies in the textbooks. The truth beneath the stars and stripes. But the real question is, what happens now? America is no longer just a country. It's a battleground of ideas. Left versus right, truth versus propaganda, reality versus control. And while the world watches, America teeters. Let's talk about surveillance. Your phone? It hears you. Your TV? It watches you. Your data? It's sold, packaged, and traded by companies you've never heard of. They don't need chains anymore. They have your attention. Every scroll, every click, every tap. And while you're distracted with the latest trend, AI is rewriting the rules. Jobs are disappearing. Deepfakes blur truth and fiction. And algorithms decide what you believe, not based on truth, but profit. And then there's the environment. Storms stronger, fires hotter, coasts flooding. But oil keeps flowing, because short-term greed is louder than long-term survival. And as the planet burns, new powers rise. China, Russia, BRICS, forming alliances, building influence, while America argues over TikToks and tweets. This isn't a conspiracy. It's a wake-up call. Because while billionaires plan to leave Earth, and politicians trade truth for votes, a new generation is watching, angry, informed, connected, and they're not asking for change. They're demanding it. But the system doesn't go down easy. It fights dirty. It censors. It distracts. It divides. So the question isn't just what's next for America? The real question is, will people rise before it's too late? Or will this empire fade like all the ones before it? This is Brothers Explore, and you've just seen behind the curtain. Now the choice is yours. Wake up or keep dreaming. The rise before the fall. They say history doesn't repeat itself, but it sure does rhyme. Great empires don't fall from a single battle. They crumble from within. And if you listen closely, you can hear the cracks forming. Rome ruled the known world. They built roads that outlasted kingdoms, colosseums that still stand today. But inside, corruption rotted the Senate, Greed widened the gap between rich and poor, and bread and circuses kept the people distracted. Until it was too late. Sound familiar? The United States. A modern empire without a crown. Global influence. A military unmatched. But beneath the stars and stripes. Debt climbs. Trust collapses. The middle class? Shrinking. The public? Divided. More screen time than face time. More outrage than unity. And while the circus plays 24/7, the foundations quietly crack. Rome thought it would last forever. So did the Ottomans, the British, even the Soviets. But every empire has its tipping point, a moment when decline begins. Not with an explosion, but a whisper. So the question isn't if it could happen again. The question is, will we even notice when it does? If this made you think, imagine what's coming next. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the stories they'd rather keep buried. Like if you felt the truth echo in this one. Share it because some history deserves to be remembered. This is Brothers Explore, and we're just getting started.